Hey everybody, welcome to the Tribe of Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Emmy Kirshner. On today's show, I sit down with Amy Evans of Align Women. Amy is a serial entrepreneur and her latest venture, Align Women, became and was founded because she saw a gap in her market and masterminds and networking in general. She wanted something that was far more intentional than what she was experiencing. And in the episode, we talk about how she's had to grow as a leader and how she's had to really shift and step into thinking bigger and beyond what's possible for her. I had such a good time talking with her. She has a couple of truth bombs that you're definitely going to want to hear. And I'm going to ask you, as you're listening, please share this podcast. We want to grow and be able to help more entrepreneurs step into their leadership so they can grow bigger businesses. And the only way we can do that is if you share and rate and review the podcast. So please help us out.
My name is Emmy Kirshner. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. The one thing that I get asked all the time is, how do you achieve success in business and make an impact? In each episode of the Tribe of Leaders podcast, you'll hear from entrepreneurs and visionaries who share how their leadership has changed not only their lives, but the lives of everybody around them.
Hey, Amy, I am so super excited to have you on the show. Welcome to the Tribe of Leaders.
Thank you for having me, Emmy.
As I said, I'm so excited, and share with everybody a little bit about who you are and both of your businesses. We're going to talk about Align Women a little bit more, but I love that you're doing two totally different things.
Yeah, that's the entrepreneurial spirit in me. I guess I'd say I'm running my fourth business and my fifth business concurrently. I am a health insurance broker that focuses on employee benefits for small and medium-sized businesses in Southern California. So I have an insurance agency, Colibri Insurance Services, and that is a solo venture. And I've been doing that for the last 4 years. I've been in the insurance industry for 16. And then earlier this year, I founded Align Women, which is a leadership and networking organization for professional women.
And let's talk about that, because you started it because you saw a huge gap in networking, really.
Yes. Yeah. The effectiveness is the important piece. I've been in sales in the Los Angeles area for 20 years. So I've done a lot of networking in a lot of different formats. And the format I was always the most excited about was the mastermind concept. And usually I saw those born out of larger networking groups where a few people who had more synergy because of the types of clients that they worked with or the types of services they offered said, hey, let's get together and form a little side group to focus on what we're doing as a handful of people and see if we can generate more referrals. And I always liked the idea. And over the last 5-6 years, I've scribbled down notes on what I thought that should look like and how it would work. But I never saw one really come to fruition. People would get together for a couple months and then it would sort of fizzle out. And eventually I decided that I wanted to make a run of that. And if I wanted it to work, I was going to need to lead it. And I decided for myself that I wanted it to be a women-focused mastermind, women in a sales function in their jobs, whether they were running their own businesses or working for someone else, but were responsible for driving revenue. And for me, women in professional services that were aligned with my insurance agency business. So I wanted to be networking with people like employment law attorneys and HR consultants and payroll specialists. And so I built that group of, we currently have 9 women, and started running that in June of this year.
Which is incredible. It's not just for everybody, right? Like, you definitely created a narrow focus. How has that helped you?
You're right. The mastermind was created to benefit me and my insurance agency, and also equally benefit the other women in the group. And it is driving revenue to all of us. I like to say we amplify our referral opportunities because we share similar clients and we have similar conversations with those clients. And so when I'm interacting with a client, there is always an opportunity to discuss what one of the other members of the mastermind can provide for that client. And I may bring someone out to a client meeting with me. I may include information about one of the mastermind members in an email I'm sending to a client, or offer a service that one of the mastermind members has available. I found that worked really well with our payroll specialist, and I offered all my clients a payroll invoice review. And the clients who wanted to sent me their payroll invoices, and then my payroll specialist and I reviewed them and found opportunities where she might be able to save them money. And she's brought on 2 of my clients to her payroll company as a result. And it's been working like that since we started. And I've discovered that not only are we referring clients to each other, but we're actually forming partnerships that are becoming much more significant than just referrals. So our employment law attorney is now working with our HR specialist to develop white labeled HR services that the employment law attorney can offer to her clients through the HR specialist. So that's a really valuable partnership that is going to be a great benefit to everyone involved, to the clients, to the attorney, and obviously a lot of new business for the HR specialist.
That's amazing.
It's been really fun to watch it develop.
And really in a very short period of time.
A very short period of time. I think that is a reflection of the desire and the efficacy of this type of very intentional networking, where the people in the room, and I use that room with that word with air quotes, the virtual room, because we meet on Zoom, where the people in the room are handpicked and have enough commonalities that there are a lot more opportunities for referral than what a friend of mine affectionately referred to as pitch and pray networking, where you go into a room with 20. That's what I thought when I heard it, so I stole it from him. Where you go into, everybody knows what that means as soon as you say it, even if you've never heard the phrase before. But you go into a room with 25 or 30 people, and there may be 2 or 3 that could be good referral sources, and you stand up and give your pitch for 30 or 60 seconds and then pray that someone remembers what you do and took your card and refers you 3 or 6 or 12 months down the line. And I just did not find that was an effective use of my time, and wanted something different. And also, truthfully, wanted something where there were more women in the room and I was supporting more women's businesses.
Right. Particularly in your industry, I would presume that it tends to be a more male-dominated industry.
That is very true.
So being able to align with other women, and not that the guys are doing it, I don't know, in a bad way, negatively or whatever, or anything else, but that you're giving women opportunity to step into something and create more confidence with the women that you're working with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also giving all of us a platform, an environment to talk about revenue in a very open way. I don't find that that's a conversation that women gravitate towards, and it can even be uncomfortable. And I wanted very much to make this a revenue forward group, because I believe that's why we're all in business, and none of us are working for free. And in order to do the things we want to do and have the impact we want to have, and make our visions a reality, we need the revenue to do it. And so I'm very intentional about our conversations focusing on revenue and celebrating the revenue that we're generating for each other.
Absolutely. And I think that's different. I mean, I've been part of masterminds, and I'm sure you have too, where it hasn't been revenue focused, and you all get together and have a great time. And yes, there's progress made, but because you're not focused on the money and not tracking it, sometimes it feels like you're really not making as big of a stride as you could. Is that true for you?
That has been true for me in all of the groups that I've participated in. And the masterminds, truthfully, that I've been in have not been about driving sales. They've been about sharing best practices with other people who do what I do. So I'm in an agency owner mastermind, and I adore it, and it is incredibly valuable to me, and we are in contact all the time. And none of those women are going to send me referrals because we're all in the same business. And I am totally okay with that. That's not why I'm in that group. But I really believed it was possible to put a mastermind together where our intention was to drive business to each other. And it requires some leadership to stay focused. And that's been part of my leadership journey, is accepting that this works best when there is a driving force and a person behind it who has a vision and who is organizing it to keep the group as a whole focused. If all of us just got together to chat, we'd have a lovely time, like you said, and it would be very friendly and we'd have lots in common, but we wouldn't necessarily focus on the things we need to do to move our business forward. And that's what I am learning to do in my leadership role with Align Women.
So that makes me curious. What have you had to do differently in Align Women to maintain that driving force than you've had to do in your other business?
Oh, gosh, what a great question. So Align Women is a vision. It started off with me not seeing the thing that I wanted and deciding that I wanted to create it, and getting people to participate in any component of Align Women. And I should say that the mastermind was the birthplace of it. It is now becoming a larger community on Facebook. We'll have a live event in April that'll be a leadership and networking event in Los Angeles.
That's exciting.
It is, and it will be a podcast very soon. So it has grown beyond the initial intent to create a mastermind that would drive revenue to my insurance agency and become something much bigger, because so many people bought into the vision so quickly when I started sharing it. And I must admit, I was surprised and overwhelmed when I started sharing this idea and had women from all over the country responding and saying, we need this in our area. How can we start our own masterminds? This is really exciting. I've never seen anything like this. And I realized that the vision was not just going to be in service of me and of my insurance agency, but was something much bigger. And I've had to recalibrate where I put my attention and how I want this to grow, to accept that I really feel like I have a responsibility to deliver this in a way that can benefit people just beyond my initial circle of colleagues. So with my insurance agency, I have my own vision for the clients I wanted to serve and the revenue I wanted to generate. I wouldn't say it was as aspirational as the vision for Align Women is. So it's been fun to get people on board, and it's also been a great sense of responsibility to figure out how to execute it in a way that provides value to the people who are interested in it.
So will you open up Align Women as it grows, for instance, with the podcast or the community that you're growing, to other industries, or will you keep it all in kind of the insurance, HR, other employee benefits?
So the idea from the beginning was that I would run this initial mastermind as a template and build a format for other women who wanted to be leaders of their own masterminds. And the demand for that, the list of women I already have who are interested in that, has surprised me. And that is the process that I am in right now with the mastermind piece of Align Women, is running the current mastermind as a template with the intention of creating a leadership certification so that women who would like to run their own masterminds will become certified as mastermind leaders by working with me, and then will be able to run their own masterminds in whatever industries, in whatever niches, in whatever areas would serve them. So I recognize that mine is unique to me, and I built it for me to benefit me, and I'm totally okay with that. And I have a woman in the Bay Area who is a health insurance broker like me and wants to build a mastermind of Latina professional services women, because she hasn't been able to find that for herself where she is. And I have a woman who's a photographer who's a brand specialist, expressing your brand through photography. And she wants to build her own mastermind of things like event planners and coaches that would benefit her. So the idea is to build the template that can be duplicated.
Okay, got it. And love it, because it does, I mean, it's easily replicated. And I love what you said too about, like, you created this whole thing to really serve you, but you're serving so many other people in creating something that serves you.
Yep, that's been a surprise and a delight, and like I said, a sense of responsibility. It's grown quickly. It continues to grow, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, amazing. And I'm curious too, like, what's your long-term vision with this, as you've seen it kind of grow beyond what you had thought initially?
The long-term vision keeps getting bigger and bigger as I keep seeing things. I certainly see a national conference, a leadership and networking conference for women, for professional women. The mini version of that will be the event that's planned for April 2020. That'll be a one-day event. So I'm gonna start manageable and then expand it from there. And the purpose of the April event will be to roll out the leadership certification. So that's when I will start bringing women into that so that they can run their own masterminds. And I would like to see masterminds all over the country. I imagine having a map of the United States and putting pins in it every time we get a new mastermind in a new state. And we'll see where it goes from there. If I can bring this revenue generating system to other women who are frustrated with the current state of networking, I will be really, really happy with that.
I'm curious too, you said you spent time before you started the mastermind kind of keeping notes and ideas and everything. How long did it take you to formulate this version, or at least your starting version of the mastermind, and what you thought was going to work best for you?
In the last few years, I participated in a very high-end, very well-known networking organization, and spent a couple years, about 2.5, not getting the results that I wanted, and trying a lot of different things and not feeling like it was catching on. I was getting small referrals for small clients, but it wasn't generating the revenue that I really needed it to make it worth the time and money and effort that I was putting in. So I would say the current version of Aligned Women was initially born out of my frustration with that, and deciding that it wasn't that I was doing anything wrong. It was that the format wasn't serving me. And I thought there was a way to do it more effectively with people that were more aligned with what I was trying to achieve. And in March of this year, I went to an event with my soon-to-be husband, who is a transformational life coach. And I went to this event. Yeah, I went to this event with him to take a look at a new coaching program that he was considering. And a lot of the conversation in that coaching program was about serving your audience and what your vision was, and what the world would be missing if you didn't bring your gifts. And surprisingly, not surprisingly, I started scribbling. So I was there for him and his business, but in my notebook, I started writing, who do I want to serve? Professional women. How do I want to serve them? And this whole thing just poured out of me over a couple pages of this notebook. And there are a few things in there that I hadn't mentioned in terms of vision, like a retreat. I would love to do a women's retreat. And so that was when it was born, was in March. I was at that conference when I came up with the name and reserved the URL. And then it just all went from there. So that was March. By June, we had started the first mastermind. And now I'm growing the Facebook community, and now I've got a podcast in the works, and now I've got an event scheduled for April. Like, if I turn my attention loose on something, it is going to go. It is going
Absolutely.
to happen.
It sounds like it. And I love that. I want to talk a few minutes about the download that you had, and it resonates with me so much, because that's exactly what happened for me with the Tribe of Leaders Biz School. Is that, like, I didn't want to do another group program. And I was trying to figure out what I did want to do to grow and expand my business. And literally it happened at like my son's football game. I'm like typing on my phone for an hour. Well, the stuff came down and just was like, oh my God, this is it. And I'm curious if your experience was similar, and then if it just kept going, or if you had something different than that in the way that it kind of showed up for you.
It was similar in that it was immediate. Somewhat surprising in the clarity, not surprising in that a lot of these ideas had been floating in my head for a long time. But what was surprising was me concluding that I was going to do this instead of continuing to look for it and not find it in other places. The conclusion that I was going to build it and make it happen was probably what was the most surprising. And yes, it has kept going at a pace that I'm trying to keep up with. There are all kinds of affirmations coming from all over the place that this is needed and wanted and valuable, and it really resonates with other women that I talk to. And I think my favorite response that I've gotten was our HR consultant in our mastermind is somebody that I knew for years. I was an insurance representative for a company that she worked for. And so we interacted on that level, and then lost touch for a few years, but stayed connected on LinkedIn. And she started her HR consulting business, and we had lunch, and I wasn't necessarily thinking about Align Women when I was having lunch with her. I thought we might be good referral sources for each other for my insurance agency. And then I sat down and started sharing this idea with her and told her there was an opening for an HR consultant. And when I finished explaining what I was looking to accomplish, she said, I just got goosebumps. And I said, oh, thank goodness, you get it. And that's really exciting for me. And there are a lot of women who are getting it. And to see that happen so quickly is really affirming for me and fuels me to put more energy into it.
Absolutely. I love it. Was there ever a time where, like, you contemplated not starting?
No, that's not my way. And I mentioned that I'm attached to a transformational life coach. So you can imagine if I've got an idea and I'm really excited about it, I have a relationship obligation in addition to all my other obligations to pursue it 150%. So no, there was not a time that I thought I would not do it.
Excellent. And the reason why I'm asking too is I think we've all had the idea and then we talk ourselves out of it. And I think that's what makes you and your leadership style so different, is you just accepted what you receive so easily and then went and took the action without worrying about how it was going to look specifically in that moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of jump out of the airplane and build the parachute on the way down. And not to get into too many platitudes, but done is better than perfect is one that I try and keep in mind a lot, because I would say 10 years ago, I would have been much better at talking myself out of it and thinking, oh, I had to get it perfect or really have my head wrapped around it. And that's not how most people do most things. That's not how most things get done.
Right.
And leadership can take on a few different forms. And the one that resonates the most with me is you go first. You go first. I go first as the leader. I have this idea. I think there's value to it. I think it's going to work. I'm going to try this. I'm willing to take feedback. I'm willing to adjust course, but I'm going to go first. I'm not going to wait for someone else.
I think that that's so important because as the leader, as the creator, you have to go first and show people the way and kind of hold their hands because they're not going to be as sure and confident as you are.
Yep. That's its own interesting position to be in. Leadership, if you had asked me a week ago, I've always associated leadership with leading people and trying to get them to go somewhere to do something. And I realized after reading an amazing article in Forbes recently that's written by the president of Barnard University about women-only spaces, because Barnard is a women's only college. She talked about leadership being three different things, and they don't all have to. They can all exist independently, or they can all exist together. One of them is leading in thoughts and ideas. One of them is leading teams and people, and one of them is leading with knowledge by mentoring. And when she separated those three things out for me, it helped me understand that I didn't have to think that I wasn't a good leader or not a good fit for leadership because leading a team of people isn't very appealing to me, but that leading with ideas and vision and trying new things is much more where I sit.
Excellent. And you have to have the idea first.
That's true of absolutely everything. You have to have the idea first. Yes.
So what's been your biggest challenge in creating this? Clearly growth is not it. So is it just keeping up?
Figuring out what to focus on in order to get everything to move ahead relatively at the same pace. And that's probably not possible. So do I work on the newsletter? Do I work on the podcast? Do I work on the community? Do I work on a little bit at the same time? Figuring all that out has been a challenge, especially because I'm so excited about all of it. So I have so much energy around it, and so I get a little bit of a squirrel brain because I'm so excited about it. And I love my insurance agency, and we're in the middle of open enrollment season. And so I have my hands in more clients right now than I do most times of the year. So energy management, I would say, is definitely a challenge.
Okay. Any secrets you want to share on how you're doing that?
The best secret is the counterintuitive one. If I'm feeling pulled in a bunch of different directions, stop everything. Go on a walk, take a bath, do a 20-minute meditation, have some food, stop everything and resettle and refocus, and don't get sucked into the idea that multitasking is the way to get things done, because I don't believe that that's true. I don't believe our brain for that. I believe in focusing on one thing at a time. I believe that creative ideas come in empty space, like you were talking about getting your download for the business school at your son's football game. I certainly wasn't looking for my creative idea when I was sitting at a conference, on behalf of someone else to assess ideas for his business. So creating the space, I think, is really, really important. And it feels totally counterintuitive. I've got all these things to do. How could I possibly take a half-hour walk? That's the best thing you could do.
And I want to thank you for saying that, because I'm sure everybody that's listening has heard that in some version or another. And I think we need to continue saying it over and over again until we all start giving ourselves permission to do that. I know for me, like, if I'm writing or like in any part of my day, if I feel stuck or that I need to do 20 different things, like I need to go take the dogs for a walk and just get a clear head. And it's amazing what problems can be solved when you give yourself a little space.
For sure. And it's also healthy going on a walk or stopping to get something to eat. I mean, I've worked from home more than I've worked in an office now in the course of my working career. And people say, how do you not get distracted by all the things in the house? Then I go, wait, I'm not that person. I'm the person who gets to 3 p.m. and goes, okay, I haven't gotten out of this chair and I haven't eaten anything and I actually need to go to the bathroom. And I'm a workaholic by nature because I'm so excited about the stuff that I'm doing. Right. So healthy to just get up and take a break.
Absolutely. This has been so amazing. And I love your perspective, not only in leadership, but how you've really filled the gap to create business more intentionally. And I think that's something that we're all trying to do. So you have a perfect vehicle for people to join you. Share with everybody where they can connect with you.
Sure. You can connect with me via our Align Women website, which is alignwomen.org. And we also have a private Facebook group that is also Align Women. Just be searching in Facebook for Align Women, that you click on the groups tab, because the first thing that'll come up is the business page, which you are welcome to like. But if you're interested in joining the group, click on the groups and request to join.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to put you on the spot. Do this occasionally, but I know you can handle it. So,
okay.
What is your favorite quote?
Hang on. Let me pull it out of the back of my head. It's a Thoreau quote. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined.
I love it.
I love it too.
And with that, I want to say thank you so much again for being here. And to everybody that's listening, we will see you next week.
Thank you.
As an entrepreneur, do you ever feel isolated, like you're just grinding away and not getting to the place or reaching the goals that you want? Maybe you've realized that you just spent days, weeks, or even months trying to accomplish something only to figure out that the answer that you have would have saved you all of that time. I know I've had that experience and my clients have as well. And that's why I created the Tribe of Leaders Biz School. Get the accountability, the training, and the knowledge base in a community of like-minded people who are there to support you. Go ahead and check it out. It's thetribeofleaders.com.